Welcome to this YouTube for Business intensive. I'm excited about this. It's the first time I've done a 4-week program. It's I hope I haven't bitten off more than I can chew, but I'm really excited. We need this time as well because it's a big old topic, and that's even when we're trying to simplify it. So, I'm really glad you're here. We have 75 odd people registered. Um, so, this is for you. And as you'll know, there's lots and lots of Q&A baked into this. So the general approach I'm going to take in these sessions is that we're going to go quite heavy for an hour, and then so that the content's all in one place, and then we'll have Q&A afterwards, and then there's going to be one full Q&A session every week as well. So um, hopefully we'll be able to get through um, all of your questions and make sure this is all nicely personalized for you. So welcome, YouTube for Business. Here we go. So here are the goals for this program. They're pretty simple, really. Obviously, there's no shortage of YouTube education out there. You can get more than you ever need on YouTube itself. There's tons of paid programs. What I'm really trying to do here is, first and foremost, is actually to provide a kind of a one-stop shop for people with existing businesses who want to do a YouTube because they know the power of YouTube for leads and sales. And I want to distill everything to show you the stuff that really matters for a business owner who wants to do YouTube, right? If you want to make viral videos, there are plenty of places you can go and find out how to do that. I'm not going to talk about that. What I'm going to talk about is how to run a channel that gets you leads and sales. And we're going to talk about the stuff mostly that you can't get elsewhere. Okay, I'm not going to show you how to set up a YouTube channel. You can Google that in 5 minutes. It's easy. I'm going to show you the stuff that most people don't talk about. All right. And the main goals of this whole program are to focus on lead and sales, sales and leads. The main method to do that is actually through trust and intimacy, intimacy and trust, as you will see. And I didn't realize that this rhymes with the last one, but it does, so I'll take it. Minimal fuss. Does that rhyme with trust? Kind of. Like minimal fuss, right? You really do not have to do a great deal. And you'll hear a lot in this intensive about how we recently started a new podcast channel at Story Learning. It's about as basic bare bones as it gets, and yet we're bringing in tens of thousands of, well, I shouldn't, that's an overstatement, 10,000 views per video right off the bat for very, very kind of low production. On the face of it is low production content. So we're going to be focusing really on minimal trust, minimal fuss, minimal trust, minimal fuss here. Okay. Now, in order to do this, I'm going to be leading about half the sessions myself. We're going to have very special guest Wendy, who is in the room today. She'll be in here for most of my sessions as well. Wendy actually runs the YouTube channel at Story Learning, so she knows more about this stuff than I do. And she is going to be teaching a good number of these sessions. She's also here in the chat, so she'll be jumping in and answering any questions that you guys have. We've also got 3 fantastic guests who I brought in specifically because although we know about these things, myself and Wendy, these guys are really expert at this. So we've got Thomas Norman, who's going to teach speaking to camera. So if you're in any way unsure or uncomfortable about speaking to camera, he's your guy. He's a genius at this stuff. Then we've got Tintin Smith, who used to run YouTube for Ali Abdaal. He is a real expert on titles and thumbnails, which is like 80% of the game with YouTube. And then we've got Oscar Owen, who we've been working with recently at Story Learning, a fantastic growth specialist, also has a huge YouTube channel, a magic channel himself, and he's going to be teaching a session on script writing. So we've got lots of stuff here, and I'm really excited about it. So here's the calendar. For those of you joining us live, it's going to be over the course of 4 weeks. Obviously, if you're watching the recording at some point in the future, no need to wait. You can access all of this straight away. I do recommend you go through this in order for reasons that will become apparent as we go through. But just to give you a sense of what's coming, we're going to focus on mindset and fundamentals today. We're going to talk about brand and tracking on Wednesday, which don't sound related, and indeed they're not, but they're just 2 that go into one session quite neatly. Thursday, we have a Q&A, full Q&A session. Friday, Wendy's going to be doing a session on team. So what's the production team you need in order to run a YouTube channel like this? without you doing everything. Very, very important. Thomas is going to be doing speaking to camera next week. Then I'm going to be doing an introduction to ideation, titles, and thumbnails, another Q&A. And then Wendy is going to be doing a deep dive on ideation, which is a session that I'm really, really looking forward to, that one. Then I'm going to be doing one on analytics. So what numbers should you be looking at? The answer is not many, but I'll tell you exactly what they are in the session. Then we've got Tintin's title and thumbnail session on week 3, followed by another Q&A. And then Oscar's going to be going into scripting videos, which is another session that I'm really looking forward to. Then finally in week 4, we've got editing with Wendy, which sounds kind of boring, but actually the stuff she's going to show you is really revolutionary in terms of actually in terms of the overall production process. So that's going to be great. Then when he's also doing a session on channel and audience management, again, some stuff in here you probably won't have heard of. And then this last session is sort of TBC. So we're going to see what comes up from the program. And then I've left this empty space here so I can adapt to your needs live as I go, which I think is a cool thing to do. That sound like a game plan to everybody? I'm going to take that as a yes. Right, so here's our session on mindset and fundamentals. So we're going to cover the following in this session. First of all, past versus present, what YouTube was versus what it is now, the opportunity for you, for your business. We're going to cover the mechanics of successful YouTube. So what actually is it that creates a successful YouTube channel for you, i.e. leads and sales? We're going to be talking about mindset. And then lastly, a deep dive on Avatar at the end of all of this, because as you'll see, Avatar really is the most one of the most simplest and difficult things of all, and one of the most important things. So, past versus present. I think for a lot of us, when we think about what YouTube is, a lot of us are probably used to, or our awareness of YouTube is probably a lot like, it's based a lot on the YouTube that we know from, I don't know, 2018 to 2022 sort of time, when YouTube really exploded and became really, really popular. This is kind of epitomized by Mr. Beast, who is, the most famous YouTuber of all, and is obviously known for making wild videos with millions of dollars in production value per video, and it's kind of crazy entertainment stuff. And as a result of this, and as a result of watching people like Mr. Beast make huge channels, there's been a general movement towards, or a general belief from people on YouTube, that the way to succeed on YouTube is to grow the biggest audience that you possibly can. And for a long time, that kind of was the game, because for many years now, YouTube has been so powerful that you can use the algorithm to reach millions and millions of people. That's what Mr. Beast did really well. But also you could do this with lots of other channels. I mean, we have, I have many friends who started YouTube a long time ago who have this huge audience. My friend Lucy from English with Lucy, for example, over 10 million subscribers on a language channel. Isn't that incredible? 10 million subscribers. So she's kind of played the Mr. Beast playbook. Well, I'm not sure she'd like me saying that, but she has played that in the sense that the opportunity at the time was grow a massive, great channel and then sell stuff to a small segment of those people. All right. It's much like SEO was back in the day, search engine optimization. The game was get an absolute shed load of views from SEO, from Google, drive hundreds of thousands of people to your website, and then convert 1% of those people to email and convert 1% of those people to customers. It was largely a numbers game. And so for a long time, this has been the game with internet marketing in general, and particularly with YouTube. That's now changed. You can still play this game. There's nothing wrong with that at all. You can absolutely still play it. But what's changed is now you can do stuff like this, which is scruffy looking middle-aged guys sitting in a chair talking, and be very successful with it. Okay. And so I'll put this picture up here just to prove the point. This is our Story Learning podcast, which is a very new channel we started a few months ago. So you can get it on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and all of that, but it's also on YouTube. And the entire thing is literally me sitting in a chair with bad lighting talking. Okay, the bad lighting's optional, but that's all it is. Like, there's no production value. This video cost probably 20 million to 5 million to record. This cost me nothing, and it takes me 15 minutes. Okay. Now, why does this work now? Whereas it didn't in the past. See, in the past, if you'd made something like this and stuck it on YouTube, um, because it was very kind of like low production value, not particularly interesting, YouTube wouldn't have pushed it to many people, right? Because it's just not that interesting. In this podcast, I talk about very niche language learning topics, right? Like what's the difference between Spanish and Italian, or how hard is grammar to learn? It's very in-depth stuff, right? That's not interesting to 99.9% of people on the planet. Here's the key thing that's changed. YouTube has now got so good that it can take stuff, like it can take very in-depth conversations about language learning, and it can put it directly in front of the 100,000, 500,000 or so people who are interested in that. And it just skips everybody else. The algorithm now with YouTube is so good that if you know who you're talking to, and if you're talking to the right person specifically, then the algorithm is so good that it will put you in front of those people. That's why me looking scruffy in a hoodie with bad lighting on a chair can get 10,000 views on a brand new channel, because I know who I'm talking to. I know I'm crystal clear on my avatar. I make content that's very compelling for that avatar. And then YouTube can then go and find those people, needle in a haystack, put it in front of them, and um, hey presto, 10,000 views, 15,000 views. And because it's so targeted, a huge proportion of those 10,000 views convert into email and sales. This is fundamentally what the past versus the present. Okay. Both of these still work. It's just that this right here is the new opportunity. So, a good way to illustrate this is, so I was at a mastermind event in London last year with a YouTuber called Ali Abdaal, very well known. You may have heard of him. And we were talking about how there has been for people starting a business in 2026, the landscape has changed, right? In the past, the main way to start, if someone came and said, I wanted to start an online business, you would tell them, great, go and build an audience. Here's your audience, go and build a big audience and then sell them stuff, right? That was the opportunity. Build a big audience and then sell them stuff. It's that kind of rather inefficient model that we were talking about before. Get 1,000 views, convert 10 of them into leads and one of them into sales, right? Now, but that's not the case anymore. The easiest way to start a business online now is to start with a product, because it's now so easy to get targeted traffic from the algorithms to your product that if I was starting a business now, new in 2026, I would start with a product and then use platforms like YouTube to drive traffic directly to it. You no longer need a big audience. It's brilliant. Right? So this is I think quite a useful way of framing what the opportunity is now. Now, one way that I've started to think about this is in terms of funnels. Now, I don't think this is the perfect analogy, top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel, but I think it's kind of illustrative for those of you who understand a marketing journey. So for those of you who don't know, this is top of funnel. Now, top of funnel generally is where you first attract people. So this could be with Facebook ads, it could be with SEO, it could be with YouTube videos. It's basically where people, potential customers or leads have first contact with you. Generally, it's very broad, right? This is like your Mr. Beast type content, entertaining. For an education business, it might be getting people excited about the topic. This is where YouTube has always been. It's always been top of funnel for those people who are playing the YouTube game. Let's get down to bottom of funnel. So bottom of funnel is a sales event. So this could be like a sales page or a webinar. Uh, if you do a product launch, for example, that's bottom of funnel stuff. You do see this sometimes on YouTube, not very often, but for example, if Alex Hormozy is running a massive book launch, he's probably streaming it live on YouTube, and this is bottom of funnel. The main purpose is to sell. Yes, there's entertainment in there, there's education in there as well, but it's basically selling, right? You can't do this most of the time because people won't watch it. So we've got top of funnel where YouTube's always been. We've got bottom of funnel, which is always going to be the sales event. And in the middle of funnel is where this has changed. Now, if we ask about what middle of funnel actually is, middle of funnel is where you take people who are already interested in your stuff and you give them some more in-depth education on it. So top of funnel in an education business might be, for example, let's take story learning as an example. So top of funnel might be the 10 best languages to learn this year. This is for people who are just vaguely, like generally interested in the topic. 10 best languages to learn this year. It's kind of like half entertainment, half education. Middle of funnel content now is for people who are already interested, who want to learn something more and deepen their knowledge. So this might be solving a particular problem. So in the language space, it might be like how to learn Spanish grammar, or it could be something like a 10-step process for memorizing vocabulary. It could be a case study of some kind, right? This is typically middle of funnel content. So we talked about how this is kind of old YouTube that still works, but it's old YouTube, and this is the new opportunity. So one way to think about this, which might be helpful, is that the new opportunity on YouTube really is to just go after middle of funnel content across the board, which means from a content perspective, what we're doing is we are being much more we are teaching much more than we would in a lot of traditional online marketing. A lot of online marketing talks about attracting leads, getting customers with very kind of broad content. Now, because the algorithm is so good, we can focus much more on what you might typically think of as middle of funnel content, okay? Case studies, processes, things like that. And this is exactly why I think our story learning podcast is doing so well, because it's answering people's questions on a deeper level. And the reason that this creates so much trust is because most people with their marketing are far too vague, far too superficial. You can go in there teaching really important things, really useful, meaty things right from the beginning and get in front of the right people. Now, the reason I'm spending so long on this is because everybody wants this. Everybody wants Mr. Beast. Why? Why does everyone look at Mr. Beast stuff and think, oh, I need to do that. I want that. Why? Ideas in the chat, please. Mr. Ross, who knows a thing or two about this. Um, so Phil reckons it's because Mr. Beast is handsome. Alison says Mr. Beast terrifies her. Ross says for views. Yeah, the reason is much like all social media, you see people with the big channels and you think, hey, I want that because then I can be popular too. And this is why you kind of get this huge, great, like just self-fulfilling. I don't want to say the word because it's not really suitable, but it's like this big think of everyone imitating everyone else on social media, right? Because the people that get all the views get all the attention, and you think that that's the game. But the reality is a tiny number of people actually get all these views. And most people who try to get these views don't, because the law of the big bell curve in algorithmic marketing, right, is that 99% of all the goods go to 1% of people right at the end of the bell curve. Most other people, 99% of other people end up with nothing. Right. So you generally don't want to copy these people. Everyone thinks they should do this because that's the most visibly popular thing, right? What I want you to really think about moving forward is you don't want this anymore. There is no need to go for big views because you can get big leads and sales from middle of funnel stuff right out of the gate. Right? Is this making sense so far? Let me know in the chat if this is landing for you. Now, the reason that this is so important for educators is because there are many algorithms out there, right? There's TikTok. Why don't we all go and start TikTok channels? Is it a channel on TikTok? Is it an account? Why don't we all go and do TikTok? Then we get way more views, right? Why don't we all go and start podcasts? Podcasts are cool, aren't they? Why don't we all go and start blogs? Actually, don't start a blog. That's a terrible idea. I tried that and it worked, but not so much anymore. The reason that YouTube is so important for educators is because we have the holy trilogy, holy trinity, the holy trio of online content, which is long form, searchable, evergreen content. And this equals cash in online businesses. Long form, why? Because long form equals trust. If someone spends 10, 15 minutes with you, they build serious trust with you, right? Same with podcasts, by the way. Not true with social media in general. Searchable, because this way new people can find you. Evergreen, because it keeps getting you views over and over and over, right? Podcasts, for example, great for long form, not really very searchable, and not really very evergreen from an algorithm perspective. You can kind of go back and find it, but it's not just popping up over time. The thing with YouTube, the way that YouTube works, is that you have this, the more stuff you publish, the more stuff the more you get, right? So you publish these videos, 1 year, these videos the next year, these videos the next year. After 3 years now, you've got like all of this back catalog that's kind of working for you because it's all evergreen, right? And so over time, what happens is your back catalog becomes really, really powerful, just like it does on a blog, right? So it's long form, searchable, evergreen. This is why this particular opportunity on YouTube right now is so important for educators. So you might be thinking, that all sounds great, but I'm not sure it's going to work for me. The great Dan Kennedy used to run conferences where he had on the back panel, like behind the stage, he would have in huge great letters the words, "This won't work for my business." Why? Because he was a great teacher. He's a great, still going strong. He's a great teacher. But what would happen is when he went to consult with people and teach people, everyone would turn around and say, "Oh, Dan, that sounds great, but that won't work for my business." We all think this stuff isn't going to work for our businesses. In reality, it always does, right? Because it's the principles that matter, not the specific stuff. So if anyone's brave enough, perhaps you can let us know in the chat if you have doubts about whether YouTube can work for your business or not. If you have any doubts, I'm speaking to you directly here. I'm just going to give you a bit of inspiration so that you can see how this can work. So at Story Learning, we traditionally had loads and loads of SEO traffic. I mean, I'm talking like 500,000 unique visitors a month to our website for years and years and years. Built the business off the back of that. In the last few years, our SEO has collapsed. However, we're getting more leads than ever in the business. We're at all-time highs for leads because we've replaced our SEO with YouTube. The last few years have been kind of tough at Story Learning, but we've engaged with the problem and we've come out on top, which I'm really proud of the team for doing. SM, a private client of mine, I won't say the name. She's not big on publicity. I wonder if she's here actually. I don't know. So SM, again, similar to Story Learning, had loads and loads of SEO traffic, spent loads of money on ads. Over the last few years, been getting tougher, hasn't really been working as well. But when we actually look at what's working inside the business, and we look like, where's the activity within the business where we think that if we focused on it, it could double, triple, even 5x what it is. There's only one game in town, and it's YouTube. There's a new breed of people on YouTube. I mean, Ed Lawrence, I picked Ed because he's a well-known example. Relatively small channel. I don't know how many subscribers he's got, maybe 50,000 or so. Reportedly brings in about 500,000 a month in revenue, because he's able to target very specifically a very specific group of people, um, and has a high ticket program off the back of that. Now, a lot of people, when they hear high ticket, start thinking immediately, well, that wouldn't work for me because I'm in a B2C business, low ticket. Doesn't matter. You don't have to sell high ticket because you can be just as targeted. And then there are people in my Elevate members, ele members of my Elevate program. There are everyone at the moment is looking at YouTube. I pick one example, Adam, because Adam started his YouTube channel about, I don't know, about a month ago. His third video got 306,000 views. I mean, come on, guys. What's this? This should be illegal. But I think he was as surprised as anyone. So here we've got niches from everything from language learning to blank to YouTube education to health and detox. It doesn't matter what you're doing. The opportunity is there. So let's dig into this in a bit more detail. So top of funnel stuff versus middle of funnel. Okay, quick reminder, top of the funnel stuff is generally, well, actually, I've written it here. I don't need to tell you. With top of funnel, the goal is views. We want to get as many views as possible. And so what we can do is we can design videos with the express intention of getting lots of views. Again, wind the clock back 5 years ago, that's all people thought about. In fact, even today, that is all that most people think about. We think about it a lot, well, probably more than we should. But the goal of top of funnel is, hey, the way that you would judge the success of a video or not is how many views does this video get? And if you're successful and you make a video like this, what happens is you get high volume, so tons of views, but very low conversion. Conversion meaning conversion to leads. Right? Why? Because in order to have a popular video, what has to happen is the algorithm has to pick it up and say, wow, this is going to be popular to people on YouTube. So it'll push it to loads of people on YouTube. Inevitably, then that goes outside your avatar to people who are only broadly interested. They do not then give you their email address and opt into your email thingy because they're just not interested. They're just not interested enough. So with these kind of videos, we get high volume, low conversion. Here are some examples on the Story Learning channel. This video from 9 months ago got 1 million views. Great, right? Not many leads. In fact, it did bring us quite a few leads, but compared to the number of views, I mean, you would think for 1 million views, we'd have like tens of thousands of leads, right? Not the case. This video here, how Shakira learned 7 languages fast. Classic top of funnel. Like we're playing into the celebrity angle here. Everyone knows Shakira, right? So what's this? Shakira's got a secret system and look at all these flags and she learned 7 languages fast. What? Buzzwords flying at you left, right, and center. That's why this video did really well. I clicked off the view number. I don't know how many that got, maybe 100,000, 200,000 views, something like that. Again, as I recall, not that many leads. 5 best languages to learn in 2026. Again, this is the sort of thing this is top of funnel because it's generally quite interesting to quite a few people, but kind of low intent, right? And so this did well, 117,000 views. But again, compared to the number of leads it got, not so many. Compared to the number of views it got, not so many leads. Right? And you can see here on our Story Learning channel, if we look at our popular videos, in the past, we have always gone for videos that got tons and tons of views. Our most popular videos here, like got 6.2 million views, 2.6 million views, 2.6 million views, 1.7, 2.2. We got videos with millions and millions and millions of views. Not many leads. Now, most people don't even know how many leads they get from their videos. But this is a topic we'll leave for another day. Once you start actually tracking the leads you get from videos, and this is going to be one of the threads that runs throughout this program. Once you start tracking the leads you get from individual videos, you very quickly realize that you're putting a lot of effort into stuff that ain't producing any results. Okay. So that's why in story learning, what we do is we very proactively experiment with videos that we think are not going to get tons of views. If they do, then great, but they're probably not going to get tons of views. But we think they will get lots of leads. Would you like to see some examples of videos that get lots of leads? No? Okay, I'm done then. Only joking. Right. Here are some videos that get tons of leads. And this is what we might think of as middle of funnel videos, where the goal is leads. So with videos like this, low volume, meaning we're not aiming to get loads of views, but altogether now, high conversion. So these are videos that get lots and lots of leads. Here are some examples. So remember how the examples I just showed you were like Shakira and guy learned 24 languages and like massive, like very kind of popular stuff, the sort of thing you might see on I don't know, Netflix or something. These are videos that did not get lots of views, but got loads of leads. How to think in any language and not translate in your head. Now, it doesn't matter that you're not in the language. I know most of you who are not in the language space. That doesn't matter. What I want you to notice is it's much more specific. We're already talking technical things here. This is not attraction. This is technical solutions. How to think in any language and not translate in your head. This is the kind of thing, if you've been learning, Tommy will know all about this. If you've been learning a language for a while and you can, and like it's getting tough and you're trying to improve, like one of the big frustrations is you think in English in your head, like you're trying to speak French and someone's speaking French and you're translating into English in your head and it's like, it's just, it really annoys you. It's a real pain point. Every language learner wants to learn to think in French, in the language, right? So this is classic middle of funnel. Here's another one. The 15-minute method. Learn any language with this simple system, even if you're, I can't remember what the rest of it was. 15-minute method. It's about a system. It's a specific method. It's classic middle of funnel stuff. This did really well. And then this one is our worst video of last year. Look at this. I showed you videos with millions of views. This one got the grand total of 8,800 views. A catastrophe. Why on earth are you learning from a guy that got 8,000 views on a video? I should just get my code. Except, look how many leads we got from this video. 17% of people who watched that video gave us their email address. Now, for anyone who knows anything about direct marketing, on a platform like YouTube, where it's like very generally like low intent, this is obscenely high conversion. 1,342 leads from 8,800 videos. Now, if we could do this week in, week out, then we would. In fact, maybe we should. It's pretty cool, right? And this sort of just shows you why videos like this now are more valuable than videos like this, right? Because they get leads. Now, these are new leads. These are brand new leads because when we track our stuff, it only counts as an event when it's a new record added. So these are not people who are watching who are already on our email list, watching the video and then opting in again. It's not those people. Right? These are new email addresses. And so, as you can tell, this right here is the opportunity. This should be good news for everyone here. And this is one of the kind of big promises of this program, in fact. Because when you're going for middle of funnel stuff, you don't need to be Mr. Beast with a private island and Lamborghinis that he burns or whatever he does. Because you can do what I do and sit in a chair with bad lighting. You don't need to go viral. You don't need to look pretty. Trust me, I tried. You don't need to dilute your message to become more popular. You don't need to spend tons of money on recording studios, and you don't need to spend a lot of time doing it. This should be music to the ears of literally every business owner here. Now, you can, like, I want to say clearly, if you want to go viral, if you want to look pretty, if you want to dilute your message, if you want to spend loads of money on expensive camera gear, and you just love the artistry of YouTube, be my guest. But what we're doing here is focusing on how to drive leads and sales for your business. Okay. And that is why once we started to see this occurring, right, our smaller videos getting tons of leads, that's why we started our podcast channel last year, because we already had the podcast. And so we simply added YouTube on top. And then I sat in my chair and pressed record. We added YouTube on top. And this is now where we are getting these videos with, it's a bit blurry, but the harsh truth about advanced fluency, 13,000 views. Okay. I mean, very, very niche, etc., etc. So we'll talk about this later. If you already have a podcast, one of the easiest things you can do is simply add YouTube on top, and you're going to be in a good place. But you don't have to do a podcast channel. You can simply take this approach with your main channel and make more middle of funnel videos. Now, in reality, so I've shown you the kind of top of funnel and the bottom of the middle of funnel stuff, right? In reality, you're going to want to do a bit of both. Because the way that YouTube works is that, let's say that most of your opportunity for getting leads and stuff is here, right? What we try and do now at Story Learning is one video a month, and we publish weekly videos. One video a month, we're going to try and do this, because we take the view that, well, if we can publish a video that gets 200,000, 500,000, 1 million views, and then bring in a whole flood of new people, that's just healthy, right? It's healthy just to bring new people into our ecosystem, reach new people. So we might do, say, one video that aims to be kind of really top of funnel, viral, bring in new people, and then 3 videos which are much more middle of funnel, aimed at deepening the relationship and getting leads. Okay. Also remember that it's not the case anymore in YouTube, for the most part, that your subscribers watch every single video you publish. It just doesn't work like that anymore. What typically happens is that YouTube will just randomly put your videos in front of people that it thinks will watch it, right? So this whole thing of like really kind of worrying about repeating content and all of that, it's just not so much a thing anymore. More and more, we are doing a lot of repeating the best content that works, and it keeps working time after time. Right. So what does this all mean? Well, really, as I was thinking about this, and I was thinking, well, what does this mean? What do we really need to know about making this work? Really, this is a kind of dance between a few different elements. So on the one hand, we've got avatar, and as you will see a bit later, avatar really is the key. And if there's one thing that I've learned myself in the last year or so of doing YouTube, learning about, like, continuing to study and learn about YouTube, is that really it's all about the avatar. And most people in business in general don't have a very clear idea of who their avatar is. They'll say, oh yeah, it's people, I don't know. Yeah, it's people, I don't know, people learning French, people learning maths, people learning music. Okay. But the best businesses and the businesses that have the easiest time of it are very specific. It's high school students learning French in the UK. It is secondary school students between the age of 11 and 16 learning maths for A-level. It is women quitting their corporate jobs to go full-time as a musician to pursue their passions. Right? This is a sort of level of specificity that makes for strong businesses that have an easy time of it. So in business in general, people don't have a very clear idea of their avatar. In YouTube, it's just as important and even more important Because in order for all of this stuff to work that we've been talking about, you've got to have such a clear idea of your avatar that it's just it needs to be visceral. It needs to be so clear to you that you know their problem better than they do, and that you're speaking to a very specific type of person with every piece of content that you make. Right? And I kind of knew this intuitively, but the more that I have been working with coaches who have been helping us with our YouTube, the more I realize from them telling me this stuff that when you go around and look at different YouTubers, even very successful YouTube, most people, and so I'm going to say almost everybody here, okay, don't take this the wrong way, but almost everybody here does not have a clear enough idea of who their avatar is, at least when it comes to creating content on YouTube. And as a result, it becomes difficult to get your videos put in front of the right people. So avatar is kind of here at the center of everything. Let's put that in the center, actually. Okay, so right, if avatar is at the center of everything, then maybe we should put, oops, maybe we should put algorithm in the center. I don't know, because it's the algorithm fundamentally here that we're riding on, because that's what gets our video put in front of different people. So the avatar is YouTube's ability to do this. Sorry, the algorithm is YouTube's ability to do this. Its ability to say, okay, who do we have here? So Kevin's just published a video on maths, on the International Maths Challenge. Great, okay. Me, the YouTube algorithm, I'm going to go out to everyone who has just watched a video on the International Maths Challenge in the last 3 months. And I'm going to put it in front of them. Now, if it turns out that everyone who's watched a video on the International Maths Challenge is like 15 or 16 years old, but Kevin's made his video talking to like 10-year-olds, then that's not going to work, because the 16-year-olds are going to listen to the presenter talking to a 10-year-old and they're going to, this is too basic. Right? So what we've got to do is understand who our avatar is exactly, what kind of topics they're interested in exactly, and then give that to the algorithm so that it can put them in front of the right people, and they will watch it because you've made it for them. And then the only thing to say really with production quality is that generally, well, I suppose the thing to remember is with production quality, like for us with language learning, like, and for business channels as well, production quality really just doesn't matter that much. There may be cases where production quality is important. I don't know what it means if you're making content for 16-year-olds. I don't know what they expect, but it's a relevant factor. Right? So really, the whole game is balancing out these things, and it doesn't have to be more complicated than that. And I think a lot of people will be coming into this thinking to themselves, okay, I want the secret sauce. But actually, the more that we do YouTube, and I'm sure Wendy will be nodding along in the background, the more that we do this stuff, the more we realize, no, none of this other stuff matters. It's like, how do we make topics that are like just a perfect fit for our ideal avatar? And if we do that and present it and package it in the right way, and if we do that in the right way, then the algorithm is going to do the rest of the work for us. Right? In fact, I'm actually going to change production quality. I don't think that's the right thing. I'm going to call it. I'm going to call it packaging. I think that's a much better thing to say, because packaging is how you present it. And this, so here we're talking about title, thumbnail, basically. And when you get this right, the effect that you produce on you give to your audience is, I can't find this stuff anywhere else. And this is the reaction that we're looking for. For people to see this and think, okay, I can't find this stuff anywhere else. I'll give you an example. So the other day, I'm a big fan of personal finance channels. I got a few friends actually who run personal finance channels. Damien Jordan's a good mate of mine here in the UK, runs the UK's biggest personal finance channel. Damien Talks Money. I don't know why. I tend to just love watching personal finance channels. But I also find that there's a different kind of content that I'm looking for in general. As a business owner, I find it really hard to find good quality finance content for business owners. There isn't that much out there actually. Most personal finance stuff is like aimed at, the man on the street. Most people are not business owners, but business owners know that finance has its own kind of like an entirely different set of things to think about. So I was kind of in a bit of a rabbit hole recently, just trying to find more finance content for business owners, for entrepreneurs. And I was actually searching. I was just looking through all these different channels. I couldn't. Everything was just not right for me. And then I came across this one channel for an American guy who, his story was he'd sold his company, had a bunch of money to invest, and he realized that he the regular personal finance advice he would get, and the advice from any advisors he had was just like not relevant for his situation. And so he decided to make an entire YouTube channel talking about finance for entrepreneurs. And I started binging the entire channel because I was like, I thought I haven't found it anywhere else. And now finally I found this, and I watched every video the guy made. So this is the kind of effect that we're looking to have. It's extremely precise and specific. But when you do it correctly, um, this is the effect we're looking to get. Okay. So I think in terms of how to make this work, what have we got coming up? Okay, yeah, we need to pick up the pace a little bit here. So in terms of how to make this work, we've got two different sides to it that I think about. First of all, we've got the channel itself, the YouTube channel itself. And really, like we were speaking about before, the key here that we have to focus all of our time and attention on is the avatar. Who precisely are we making videos for? We need to make A-star content, and then we need to package it really well so that YouTube puts it out to the algorithm. This is the YouTube side. On the business side, we've got to take care of slightly different things. On the business side, we've got to take care of production workflow. So we need to know that we have people and systems in place who can produce this content for us, or who can handle this content for us so that it becomes easy. And Wendy's going to be doing a whole session on later this week on the team. Okay. So we need to, like, YouTube can be very difficult if you make it difficult for yourself, but equally it can be very easy if you make it easy for yourself. Right. So from the business perspective, you need a production workflow, which means people and processes. Then crucially, you need lead capture. Most YouTubers are way off with this. And we're going to be talking about how to capture leads from videos. On the business side, you need the ability to capture leads effectively, and then obviously you need the ability to make sales as well. These are the things to focus on. Now, when it comes to creating content, this A-star content, it doesn't have to be you. I'm going to say up front that it's a lot easier if it's you, because no one's ever going to know your business really like you. No one's going to be able to talk to your avatar really exactly like you. But it doesn't have to be you. All right. Many people I know don't want to do it, don't want to be on camera. A lot of people are asking me the question like, it's just, I just don't have the capacity for this. I don't have the space. Can I get someone else to do it? And the answer is yes, you can. With the caveat that I think it's, generally speaking, it's going to be best if you can do it. You can absolutely have other people do it. Let me give you some examples. The great Dave Ramsey talks about personal finance. Dave is one of the biggest personalities in online media in the US, and he's known for his talk radio show that he's had for decades. But he's getting on a bit now. He must be what, 65, something like that. And so in his company, over the last few years, he's been building out what he calls the Ramsey personalities. And so he has these guys here, bit small, but he's got Rachel Cruz, George Kamel, Jade Warshaw, Ken Coleman, John Deloney, who's fantastic. And these people are now personalities in their own right. So they all have their own channels. Like you have Dave Ramsey in the middle, and they have all these satellite channels of people making their own content. Why is he doing this? Because he doesn't want to be making videos on YouTube when he's 85. That's why. And so he's intentionally doing it with all of these people. So take George Camel, for example. He's got his own channel. Obviously, everything links back to the mothership. But he's got his own channel with 545,000 subscribers. Not quite as many as me, but it's still decent, still respectable, right? And makes great content. Now you're probably thinking, all right, that's fine if you are a massive company like Ramsey Solutions. But then there's my friends at Dreaming Spanish who create content for learning Spanish. Uh, all of this, none of this here is hosted by the founder. It's all other people who he has presenting this content. He does some videos, but for the most part, it's all other people doing this, right? And he did this from the beginning. Really, really great. And he stuck with it. So it doesn't have to be you doing this either. Now, how does this actually work? I'm going to spell this out really clearly so that, did I miss anything up here? No, I didn't. Yeah, I'm going to spell this out really clearly so that you understand how this works, because we're going to be going into a lot of depth with this over the course of the program. But I want you to be very clear on the mechanics of all of this. So the mechanics of a YouTube business system are as follows. You start with your video, which hopefully gets tons of leads, tons of views, and does really well. Inside the video, you will make an offer of some kind. Now, the offer will usually be a free offer, and it's what we would normally refer to as a lead magnet. And then you will say, with your call to action, you'll say, and if you'd like this thing, click the link in the description. You've heard it a million times, right? So we have a video, and then you will make an offer in the video. The link in the description will include a tracking link. And the tracking link records, is what tells the various systems which video you've come from. Then you will go to a landing page where you will enter your name and email to get the free thing. You will then have an email lead. Some of those email leads will then buy. And then based on the people who buy, you will then make more videos. Crucially, you're going to do this. This is the system it follows, right? Most people completely miss out all of this, this whole bit here. And all they do is they focus on videos and views. But YouTube for Business is about understanding which videos get us leads and sales, and how can we make more of those. Again, most people, when you think like most people just make videos for the views, isn't that crazy? Because the mechanics of this, right, when you get this right, are that this tracking link here, which says, okay, the person that clicked from this specific video, video number 324, if you get your tracking right, when someone buys, you can tie it right back to the original video. Someone buys your $5,000 program, your $200 course, you will know, they came from this video. This video obviously is the kind of video that brings sales, that brings people who buy. Therefore, let's make more of those videos. Okay. And everything you need to know about succeeding on YouTube and building a very profitable business off the back is contained in this little diagram here. And almost all of the work that we're going to be talking about, or almost all the work that you're going to be focusing on over time and improving on over time, relates to getting 10% better on all of this every week. All right. So making a good video, that's what most people think about. Great. But then what kind of free offers can you make? And at what stage in the video do you put your call to action? Is it at minute 7, minute 12, or is it at minute 2? That makes a big difference. How do you present it? Do you just say, oh, by the way, there's a thing? Or do you actually really kind of sell it, show it on the screen, encourage people to click? Similarly, when you get to the landing page, does your landing page convert or does it suck? Recently, we realized a lot of our landing pages suck. So we're improving them. Guess what happens when you improve your landing pages? You get more leads and so on and so forth. Right? So this is really the work right here. Almost all of what matters goes on behind the scenes.